What if I told you that everything you've been taught about attracting women is a lie? That showing her you care, texting back instantly, always being available, actually repels her. Not because she doesn't appreciate you, but because deep down, she doesn't respect you. Now picture this. You walk into a room and you don't need to say a word. She notices you. Not because of your looks, not because of your clothes, but because of the way you carry yourself. A man with boundaries. And these boundaries? They do what charm, wealth, or sweet words can't. They command attention, respect, and yes, desire. Today, I'll reveal 7 powerful boundaries that high-value women find irresistible. Boundaries rooted in real Stoic power. Not just to win her over, but to rebuild the man inside you. If you're tired of chasing, tired of being overlooked, tired of pretending to be something you're not just to get attention, then this is the video that changes everything. And I want you to comment below right now. No more chasing, because once you truly get what I'm about to say, there's no going back. You're not weak. You've just been lied to. This world conditioned you to be available, agreeable, emotionally soft, in hopes it would earn you love. Instead, it took your edge, it blurred your identity. And now, men are lost. We scroll through content hoping for answers. We try to impress women who don't value us. We silence our own voice just to keep peace. And we suffer in silence. But it doesn't have to be this way. There's a reason you're watching this video. Something inside you is tired of being walked over. Tired of living on autopilot. Tired of chasing validation. This is the path back to yourself. The truth hurts, but denial destroys. Today, I'll share 7 boundaries that don't just change how women see you. They change how you see you. These principles are not tricks, they're timeless, rooted in Stoicism, forged through struggle, and sharpened by every man who stopped living for approval and started living for purpose. Number 1. Don't be always available. Every time you drop everything for her, you send a message louder than words. My time isn't valuable unless you validate it. That's not loyalty. It's sacrifice on the altar of desperation, and it drains you. Have you ever been in a situation where you adjusted your entire day just for a single text back, rearranged your priorities, skipped the gym, delayed your goals, hoping that maybe, just maybe, she'd finally see your effort and reciprocate it? And did she? Or did she start pulling away even more? Like your availability was an open buffet she could pick at and leave whenever she wanted. You are not here to orbit her world. You are not here to earn space in someone's life by diminishing the value of your own. A man who's always there, always responding, always waiting, becomes invisible. Not because he's not good enough, but because he has no gravity. You want to know why she starts losing interest? It's not because you're kind. It's because you're predictable. You're always one text away, always one call away, always ready to drop your world for hers. And that sends a signal she doesn't even consciously register. You don't have a world of your own. And let me be brutally honest. No woman wants to be the center of a life that doesn't center itself. Start small. Wake up tomorrow and write down 3 things that matter to you that day. It could be lifting, learning, building, working on that side project. Schedule them like your life depends on it, because it does. When she texts you midday and you're in that block, don't rush to reply. You don't need to ignore her. You just don't need to treat her like a fire alarm. You are building, you are moving, you have direction. And you'd be surprised how that shift, just that little delay, that prioritization, starts to change the energy. Suddenly she's wondering what you're up to. Suddenly your life looks like it has motion. Scarcity isn't a game, it's a byproduct of depth. And the deeper your life becomes, the less you'll feel the need to seek validation from hers. Have you ever had plans, something truly important to you, and still cancelled them the moment she hinted at wanting to hang out? That's the kind of behavior you need to kill immediately. Because every time you choose her over your path, you lose a piece of the man you could be. The man she might have respected. The man she might have admired. The man she might have wanted. Flip the script. From this point on, you are the main character in your story. You are no longer the extra in hers. You're not cold. You're not distant. You're clear. And clarity breeds attraction. Respect isn't something you ask for. It's something you command. And that command begins the moment you stop making her your center and start becoming the gravity that pulls others in. Imagine she calls while you're deep in a creative zone or on your third set in the gym. Instead of dropping the dumbbells or interrupting your thoughts, you finish what you started. You own that moment. And later, when you respond, it's not rushed, not apologetic. It's you, choosing when and how to engage. That kind of presence, it's rare. That kind of discipline, it's noticed. That kind of energy. It makes her question why she ever thought she could treat you like an option. Because you're no longer a man waiting on someone else's time. You're the man making his own moves. And she can either align with that or get left wondering what she missed. Because he's a man worth discovering. And if that's the kind of man you're ready to become, not just occasionally but every single day, then don't wait another second to grab the Stoic relationship blueprint linked in the comments. This isn't just a book. It's your foundation, your guide, your permission to stop guessing and start mastering the principles that change how women see you, how you carry yourself, and how you lead your relationships. And the best part? It's yours forever. One click, one decision, and this powerful blueprint becomes your daily compass. Always there, always accessible, always reminding you who you are when the world tries to make you forget. So if you've ever asked yourself, what do I do now? How do I rebuild? Or, why does nothing seem to work? This is your answer. This is where everything starts to change. Number 2. Say no without apology. Every time you say yes when you mean no, a part of you dies, not dramatically, quietly, a slow, subtle decay of self-respect. And what's worse, she notices, not just the words, but the energy behind them, that hesitation, that trying too hard to please tone, that soft surrender hidden in your explanations, and it triggers something primal in her, not admiration, but disappointment. Because deep down, she wants to feel your frame, not your fear. Have you ever agreed to something you didn't want to do, just to keep her happy, and then felt that quiet resentment building inside you? You smiled on the outside, but inside, your gut screamed, "Why did I fold again?" That's not love. That's self-erasure. And it's the fastest way to become unattractive, not just to her, but to yourself. Saying no without apology doesn't mean being harsh or arrogant. It means being anchored. It means trusting your own judgment enough to stand by it, even when it's uncomfortable. Picture this. She asks if you want to go out with her and her friends tonight, but you've had a long week. You need rest. You want space. Most men would say, "Sure, of course. I'll be there." Not because they want to, but because they fear what happens if they don't. Will she get mad? Will she think I don't care? Will she lose interest? But a man who's grounded doesn't flinch. He says, "I'm taking the night for myself. Catch you later." No justifications, no backpedaling, no sugarcoating. And suddenly, she feels something she hasn't felt before, security. Not because you catered to her, but because you didn't. Because you're the kind of man who honors his own rhythm, who respects his own needs, who doesn't ask for permission to be real. Start practicing today. Not in big moments, in small ones. When someone asks for your time and you feel the resistance, say no, kindly but firmly. When a friend pressures you into plans you don't want, say no, without guilt. When you feel that old habit of over-explaining rising up, pause, breathe. Let the silence carry your decision. This is not about being difficult. This is about being deliberate. And in a world where men are taught to earn love through sacrifice, the man who can say no becomes a symbol of truth. Have you ever been the guy who texts paragraphs explaining why he can't make it, just to make sure she's not upset? You thought you were being respectful, but what she felt was uncertainty. And uncertainty in your word creates instability in her attraction. Reverse that. Short replies, clear decisions. Can't tonight. Let's talk later this week. That's all it takes. She'll respect it, even if she doesn't say it, because beneath every challenge, every test, every flirty push, she's craving something deeper. A man who means what he says and says what he means. A man who doesn't fold under pressure, who doesn't blur his truth to keep her approval. A man who is sovereign, not just in his time, but in his choices. The more you say no from a place of clarity, the more you attract from a place of power. This isn't a game. This is a way of life. And the moment you stop explaining your no is the moment your yes starts to mean something again. So try this. For the next 7 days, every time you want to decline something, do it directly. No fluff, no guilt. You'll feel uncomfortable at first, but that discomfort, that's growth. That's the old version of you dying off, and the real you rising. She'll notice, you'll feel it, and the world will begin responding not to the boy who pleases, but the man who leads. Number 3. Call out subtle disrespect. It doesn't start with insults or slaps. It starts with an eye roll when you're speaking, a joke that cuts a little too deep, a comment about your goals laced with doubt, and you tell yourself, it's nothing. She didn't mean it like that. But something inside you feels off, like you're being slowly erased, bit by bit. And the worst part, you let it slide because you thought calling it out would make you seem insecure, controlling, or weak. But in truth, your silence taught her something even worse. That your standards are negotiable, that she can chip away at your identity, and you'll still smile and take it. Have you ever had a woman mock your dream in front of others, and you just laughed along to avoid awkwardness? Or maybe she casually told you, you're not really that type of guy, when you talked about something you're passionate about, and instead of correcting her, you bit your tongue and pretended it didn't sting. That's death by 1,000 cuts. You're not imagining it. She's testing your edge, not to hurt you, but to see if you have any self-respect left. And when you don't call it out, you don't look confident. You look invisible, because whether she realizes it or not, she's looking to feel safe in your presence. And a man who can't even defend his dignity is not a man she can feel that with. Now you might ask, what am I supposed to do? Argue every time? No, that's not strength. Strength is when you look her in the eye, calm and direct, and say, I don't accept being spoken to like that. That sentence, spoken without anger, without raising your voice, carries more weight than 1,000 sweet words. It resets the dynamic. It tells her and the world, I have lines. Cross them, and I will leave. Because here's the reality. If you won't protect your own self-worth, no one else will. And it's not about winning every verbal exchange. It's about establishing a presence that doesn't allow for disrespect in the first place. Start practicing this immediately. Reflect on the last few conversations you had with anyone. Where did you let something slide that made you feel small, dismissed, or diminished? Write it down. Now rehearse saying one strong, simple response. I don't talk to people like that, and I don't accept being talked to that way. Next time it happens, and it will, drop the line. No justification, no sarcasm, no debate, just the truth. And when you see her reaction, whether surprise, admiration, or even defensiveness, know that it's not about her liking it. It's about you claiming your power. And yes, some women will get angry. Some will accuse you of overreacting. Some might walk away. Let them. Because the only women worth keeping in your life are the ones who understand that your dignity is not up for negotiation. And if you've ever been that guy who kept quiet just to keep the peace, understand this. Every time you ignore disrespect, you don't keep peace. You destroy it. For yourself, for your confidence, for your future. This is the line in the sand. You can't be the man who earns respect by being agreeable. You earn it by being unshakable in what you accept and what you don't. The moment you call out disrespect without flinching is the moment you stop being disposable and start being undeniable. So the next time you hear that offhanded remark, feel that subtle dig, or catch that glance that tries to make you small, don't laugh, don't flinch, don't brush it off. Stand your ground. Because you're not here to be tolerated, you're here to be respected. Number 4, never compete for her attention. The moment you compete for her attention, you lose, not just her respect, but your own. Because in doing so, you announce loud and clear that you believe her time is worth more than your value, and that's a currency no man can afford to trade. Have you ever found yourself double texting, watching your phone like it owes you something, tweaking your words so they don't sound too eager, crafting the perfect message just to get a lukewarm response from a woman who used to light up when you walked into the room? That's not love. That's submission. And it's killing you. Because the truth is, she doesn't want a man who chases her approval like a paycheck. She wants a man who stands so firm in who he is that her attention becomes a reward, not a requirement. Women are attracted to men with presence, not persistence. And every time you fight for her focus, adjust your rhythm to her inconsistency, or try harder when she gives less, you become the background noise to her spotlight. You start disappearing in her mind, not because you're not enough, but because you're trying too hard to be everything. You want her to see your worth? Show her that your world moves with or without her applause. Start by reclaiming your time. The next time she takes hours to respond and hits you with a vague, "Hey," don't rush to reply. Go live your life, hit the gym, build your business, read something that sharpens your mind, call someone who adds value to your day, not out of spite, but because you have priorities that don't pause for indifference. And when she starts noticing that you're not chasing, when your presence becomes scarce not by manipulation, but by movement, the energy changes. She leans in. She starts wondering. Because attention flows to where energy grows. And when your energy is focused on building yourself, her curiosity follows. Imagine being in a situation where she's surrounded by options, guys complimenting her, liking her photos, DMing her constantly, and yet you're the one who doesn't budge, doesn't flinch, doesn't try to win her with words. You simply remain centered, doing your thing. That contrast, it's magnetic. It tells her, I'm not here to entertain you. I'm here to build with someone who aligns with me. That's power. That's presence. That's the energy that makes her rethink what kind of man she's really looking for. So how do you start embodying this? First, make a list of the 5 things that matter most in your life. Not women, not dates. You, your mind, your body, your mission. Schedule time for each every week. Then, when the urge hits to reach out just to check in or seek attention, check yourself. Ask, am I reaching out because I value connection or because I fear being forgotten? If it's fear, wait, breathe, get busy. Let her feel the space. Let her miss the gravity of your presence. And if she doesn't, good, now you know. Because the man who competes loses twice, once in her eyes, and again in his own soul. Don't fight for a place in someone's life. Build a life that's so full, so rich, so relentlessly progressing, that anyone who wants to be in it must rise to meet you. From this point on, you stop being an option. You stop proving. You stop chasing. You start building. You start leading. You start living. And the moment she realizes that you're no longer trying to earn her attention is the moment your value multiplies in her eyes. Not because you played games, but because you finally chose yourself. Number 5. Lead emotionally. Stay calm. There's a moment every man faces, often without warning, when she says something sharp, something testing, something loaded with emotion. And in that moment, your response determines everything, not just the tone of that conversation, but the way she sees you from that day forward. And the mistake most men make is thinking they need to defend, justify, explain, or prove their point. But what she's really watching isn't your logic. It's your leadership. Not in the sense of control, but in the way you carry yourself when the heat rises. And if you react, if you get pulled into her emotional frame, if you raise your voice, if you try to outtalk her, if you try to win, you lose. Not because you were wrong, but because you stepped out of your grounded place and into her chaos. Have you ever been in that argument where everything escalated over nothing, and suddenly you're saying things you didn't mean, defending things you shouldn't have to, and she's crying or shouting, and when it's all over, she's distant, not because of what you said, but because of what you showed her. You showed her instability. You showed her volatility. You showed her that her emotional test succeeded in shaking you, and what she needed, even if she didn't say it, was for you to hold steady, not shut down, not detach, but to remain anchored. Imagine this. She throws a sarcastic remark about your priorities. Maybe she's frustrated that you're not giving her more attention. Maybe she's feeling insecure about her place in your life, and instead of telling you that, she pushes a button, and instead of snapping or walking away, you pause, you breathe, you look her in the eye and you say, I hear you, but I'm not going to argue. I care, but I won't lose myself just to match your chaos. That one sentence changes the entire dynamic, because now you're not reacting, you're responding. You're not shutting her down, you're showing her strength. And strength, real strength, isn't loud. It's calm, it's focused, it's presence under pressure. The way you stay rooted when she tests your edges tells her everything about the kind of man you are. Because women, whether they admit it or not, test the frame of the man they're with to see if it holds. And no, it's not fair. No, it's not always kind. But it's real. And the man who understands this doesn't resent it. He rises through it. Think about the last time she tried to pull you into an emotional spiral. Did you fight back? Did you defend? Did you try to explain why she shouldn't feel that way? Or did you hold space? Did you stay with your breath? Did you respond slowly, intentionally, without being cold or passive-aggressive? That's what separates boys from men, not how much you talk, but how little you need to prove. And if you're wondering, how do I build this? It starts with one discipline: pause. Every time you feel triggered, take a beat. Let the urge to react pass like a wave. You'll feel the energy rise, the pressure to say something, to fix it, to make her stop. But instead, sit in that tension. Let it burn. Because what's burning isn't you. It's the part of you that still seeks approval. Kill it. Breathe. Speak with purpose, not impulse. And the more you practice this, the more she'll feel safe. Not because you agree with her, but because you don't abandon yourself in conflict. That's what she's starving for. Not a man who pleases, but a man who leads. Not with force, but with emotional strength. Make this practical. For the next 7 days, track your emotional responses. Every time you feel that pull to react, journal it. What was said? How did you feel? What did you do? Reflect. Then rewrite how you could have responded with more grounding. This isn't weakness. This is training. And over time, those pauses become patterns. Those patterns become habits. And those habits become your presence. And presence is rare. Most men are pulled like puppets by feminine emotion, trying to fix, trying to avoid discomfort, trying to keep the peace by abandoning their spine. Not you, not anymore. From this moment on, you decide, every emotional spike is an invitation, not to fight, not to flee, but to lead. Lead by being still. Lead by being certain. Lead by showing her that no matter what wave she brings, you won't be moved off your center, because that's the man who creates trust. That's the man who commands respect. That's the man who becomes unforgettable. Not because he yelled the loudest or cared the most, but because when she tested his core, he didn't shake. He stood. And when you can do that consistently, when you stop reacting and start responding, when you stop chasing peace and start embodying it, you don't just become attractive, you become necessary. And every woman, no matter how independent, craves the presence of a man who cannot be emotionally pulled out of position. That is your power. Own it. Number 6. Keep your purpose first. There is no attraction stronger than a man on a mission, a man who wakes up with fire in his gut and vision in his mind, who isn't looking for someone to complete him, but is building something so powerful that others want to be part of it. And yet, most men lose themselves the moment they meet a woman who shows them attention. And in that loss, they give away the very thing that made them attractive in the first place, their direction. Have you ever been so deep into something, building your business, mastering a skill, grinding at the gym, and then she came along, and little by little, without realizing it, you started shifting your schedule, changing your focus, compromising your time, until suddenly the goals that lit you up now feel distant, and you start wondering where that hunger went. It didn't disappear. You gave it up. You traded your fire for comfort. But here's the truth. She was drawn to the version of you that didn't need her, that version who was chasing something bigger than attention. And when that chase stopped, so did her curiosity. You've got to understand, your mission isn't optional, it's your essence. And any relationship, no matter how passionate, that pulls you off your path is not love. It's sabotage. Now, this doesn't mean you abandon connection. It means you prioritize purpose. Your goals are not placeholders. They are the foundation of your identity. If you want to be respected, desired, followed, build something worth following. And it doesn't have to be a billion-dollar empire. It can be your body, your art, your knowledge, your message. But it must be real. It must be yours. Start now. Sit with a notebook and ask, if no one was watching, what would I still build? Write down 3 things. Then build a system around them. Morning rituals, weekly milestones, personal check-ins. And when you meet someone new, they step into that world. You don't shrink it for them. You don't slow it down. You show them the pace, and they either match it or step aside. And yes, that means some women will leave. Let them. Because every time you compromise your direction to keep someone beside you, you'll find yourself more alone than ever, lost in a life that isn't yours. Imagine waking up and your phone's blowing up. She wants your attention, your time, your energy. But today is leg day. Today is content creation. Today is mission day. And instead of being pulled, you stay locked in. You respond when the reps are done, when the writing's done, when the task is finished. And in doing so, you teach her and the world, I'm not here to be managed. I'm here to move. That energy is rare. That energy is remembered. And the more you protect your mission, the more you become a man who doesn't chase love. He attracts it, because love wants to orbit a life that has gravity. You've got to make your days count. Set your priorities and defend them with the same intensity you'd defend your future son. Because that's what your mission is. It's the legacy your future self is waiting for. Don't rob him. Don't abandon him. Stay the course. And when temptation comes, because it will, when a pretty face or fleeting connection asks you to slow down, to bend, to rearrange, remember who you were before you met her. And ask yourself, what would that man do? Do that. Again and again. Until it's not discipline, it's identity. Because the man who keeps his purpose first doesn't just win women, he wins himself back. Every single day. Number 7. Don't overshare, hold mystery. There is nothing more deflating to attraction than a man who unveils everything too soon, a man who pours out his stories, his struggles, his heartache, his history, all in the hopes that this raw exposure will earn him intimacy. But what he doesn't realize is that by giving everything away up front, he robs her of the one thing that fuels desire. Mystery. Have you ever found yourself in those early conversations, feeling a spark, and suddenly you're telling her about your childhood trauma, your ex-girlfriend who cheated, your insecurities about your job, and by the end of it, she's gone cold, not because she didn't care, but because she saw everything there was to see, and she had nothing left to wonder about. That's not vulnerability, it's emotional dumping. And no woman wants to feel like she's your therapist. You think you're connecting. She feels like she's carrying your weight. Real connection isn't about volume. It's about timing. Imagine you meet someone with depth. He doesn't say much, but when he speaks, it hits. His words have weight, not because he hides who he is, but because he chooses what to share and when. That's who you must become. A man who reveals layers, not all at once, but over time, like pages of a book worth reading. And each chapter leaves her wanting more. Because attraction isn't built on knowing, it's built on discovering. And when you overshare, you rob her of the discovery. You kill the tension. You flatten the journey. Think about it. When you meet a woman who tells you everything in one night, every ex, every heartbreak, every fear, every dream, do you feel more drawn in, or do you feel like you already know the end of her story? Now reverse that. Let your energy speak before your mouth does. Let your actions tell your story. And when you choose to open up, do it with purpose, not desperation. You are not a confessional booth. You are a kingdom. And kingdoms are not toured on the first visit. Make this practical. The next time you're in conversation, hold space. Listen more than you speak. When she asks about your past, don't dodge it, but don't spill it all. Say, there's a story there. I'll share it when the time is right. That one sentence creates intrigue. It tells her there's more to you than what's on the surface, that you don't hand over your story to just anyone. Because your story is sacred, your experiences are valuable, and you don't give access, you grant it. Slowly, intentionally. Have you ever been on a date where you found yourself doing all the talking, trying to keep her engaged, sharing every detail about your life, and still felt like the connection was slipping away? That's because effort isn't the same as impact. And when you try too hard to be seen, you often disappear. The most magnetic men are the ones who can sit in silence and not feel the need to fill it, who can hold back without feeling insecure, who know that their presence is enough without having to over-explain, overshare, or overcompensate. This doesn't mean you become cold or distant. It means you become intentional. It means you let people earn access to your inner world. You don't tell her everything on date 2. You don't unload your past after one deep question. You smile. You nod. You say just enough to invite curiosity, and then you move the conversation forward. You're not playing games. You're guarding the gate. Because the more a man speaks to be liked, the more invisible he becomes, and the more a man allows himself to be discovered slowly, the more unforgettable he becomes. Practice this. For the next week, in every social interaction, hold back 10% more than you normally would. Speak a little less. Reveal a little slower. Let your energy do the talking. Let your eye contact carry the weight. Let your pauses create depth. And watch how people lean in. Watch how she starts asking deeper questions. Watch how your scarcity becomes magnetism. Because people chase what they can't fully have. And when you show her that not everything is available at once, she stops looking elsewhere. She starts focusing. She starts respecting. And she starts feeling the pull. Not because you tried harder, but because you revealed less. Not because you hid, but because you withheld with purpose. From this point forward, let your life speak louder than your words. Let your goals, your schedule, your posture, your standards tell the story of who you are. And when she earns your trust, when the timing is right, let her in, not to win her, but to share with her. That's the difference. Boys speak to be understood. Men speak when it matters. And in a world drowning in oversharing, the man who knows what to keep for himself becomes unforgettable. Not because he's a mystery, but because he's a man worth discovering. If you've made it this far, it means something inside you is done settling. It's done tolerating watered-down advice, emotional chaos, and living life without direction. You're not here to repeat the same mistakes that stole your peace, dulled your edge, and made you question your own worth. You're here to wake up, to reclaim what this world tried to strip away. And if you're ready, truly ready, to step into that transformation, then comment the Stoic Blueprint below. Like this video, subscribe, and help more men escape the cycle of weakness that's kept them chasing breadcrumbs and calling it love. And inside the Stoic Relationship Blueprint, you'll find everything you were never taught about how to lead, attract, and build unshakable confidence from the inside out. No sugarcoating, just the brutal truths that set men free. It's linked in the comments right now, and if you grab it today, it's yours forever. Access it anytime. Revisit it every time you start to slip. Because this is your map back to yourself, and the man who owns this knowledge doesn't beg, he builds.